So you guys have probably heard of helicopter parents. I don't know if there are any helicopter parents here on your screen right now, but this morning we're talking about a different parenting style, one that has gone viral. It's called lighthouse parenting. Parents Magazine describes it as providing a stable source of guidance for kids while still giving them freedom to grow on their own, kind of like a lighthouse guiding boats. Emily Oster is a New York Times bestselling author. Her books help us navigate parenting and pregnancy. They certainly have helped me. And an updated paperback edition and hardcover gift edition of her first book, Expecting Better, goes on sale November 12th. Emily Oster is here with some insights. You are an economist. I love how you use data to study parenting, but let's just talk about styles. What is lighthouse parenting and what do you think about it?
So the idea of lighthouse parenting, which mostly comes up with older kids, is that you're the lighthouse, you're guiding them, you're showing them where the rocks are, but you're giving them some independence. And it's something between you're driving the boat for them, which is too involved, or you're just letting them crash into the rocks, which is not recommended. So the idea is that it's something in the middle, but like all these parenting styles, it's not a checklist. It's not like do da 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 and you're a lighthouse parent. It's more of a general approach, like a vibe.
Yeah.
And it seems like the opposite of what I've heard described as snowplow parenting, where you just clear the path for your child.
Yeah, I think it's a reaction to that and saying both not clearing the path for your child, but also prioritizing independence. I think there's really those two pieces, like letting your kid solve their own problems, because when they leave you to go to college, to go have a job, you will not be there to move all the rocks.
So your books are fantastic because on a lot of parenting questions, particularly with younger kids and babies, there is data.
Yeah.
And my wife depended on it, we depended on it with our kids. But with older kids, one of the things is you can't run the experiment of parenting again, right? It only runs in one direction. I have 4 kids, they're all different, the scenarios are different, everything changes, so I never know what works and what doesn't.
Yes, so there's a little bit of data on things like this, but when you get to bigger kids, the data is more limited. So you can say things like, we know from the data that what parents can provide, the way they can provide resilience for their kids is by being a stable source, and we have some evidence on that. But in terms of what is exactly the right way to do it, what's exactly the right way to do it with each kid, that's much harder because your kids get more different. And I had a colleague once who said there's no substitute for thinking, and I think that applies so strongly in parenting.
We have to actually think ourselves.
We have to
read
think
your book,
ourselves.
and you tell me how to raise my.
No, I'm going to tell you how to think about it, and you're going to decide.
Okay. So a conversation we've had is like, how much do you let your kids play on their own independently? Because apparently, it is good that they can really grow resiliently or grow their resilience if they're on their own without adult supervision. But I grew up with the mentality that you need to be supervised when you're a kid.
There are small steps you can take. I think we are often in the modern era way too supervising of our kids. That is different from saying that, your 3-year-old should be out wandering the streets by themselves. That's too much. And I think often because we're doing a little more scaffolding and a little more supervising than might be optimal, just asking, is there one more step that I can take that I can let my kid play a little bit more alone? Is it okay for them to be in the backyard for a little while by themselves? Or can I sit on the side of the park and let them go on the slide by themselves?
Sit on the bench, you mean, and not actually follow her?
Sit on the bench, listen to a podcast.
But she wants me to see her. She's like, Mama, come watch this, right?
Yeah.
So then I kind of don't want to ignore her. I want to validate those feelings.
I want to. I always remember.
You want to?
I always remember that Churchill's parents, Churchill, right?
Right.
Saved everything. His parents used to have lunch across the street from his boarding school. His boarding school, not pop in to say hello. Completely cut off from his life.
So if you're trying to raise a leader of the free world in a world war, this is the system you need.
It could be, yeah.
It could be the secret.
But one of the things I find when I'm at the playground is I find I don't want to get involved, but I have to get involved performatively because I need other parents to see that I care.
This is such a tricky aspect of all of this because any kind of sort of one step beyond in independence, let your kid walk to school by themselves, let them be at the playground by themselves. There's a feeling of like, I'm a bad parent. And this is why so much of this has to happen in a broader community where we all think about, okay, how can we provide some more independence and support other parents in doing that? Because otherwise, you're the jerk listening to the podcast who doesn't care.
Don't judge me if you see me just sitting there.
She's watching you.
I'm jealous. I would love to be listening to Emily Oster's podcast at the park, sitting on the bench. But baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. Emily Oster, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.